The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome to Veteran Talk with Magic Mike, where what's important to you is important to us. Let's talk. I'm your host, Magic Mike, and today we're diving deep into something close to my heart. How sharing your story and getting behind the mic can be a powerful form of rehabilitation. Whether you're fresh out of service, years into civilian life, or somewhere in between, we've got a space for you here. Because everyone has a story, and broadcasting is how we tell it.
Hey, everybody, welcome to this version of Veterans Talk with yours truly, Mike, and my co-host Amber on her little road trip. We're back from her road trip, but she's, it sounds like she's doing a little suffering from allergies, sounds like.
Oh, very much so.
I tell you what, man, I don't know what's going on. I have never in my life ever suffered from this many allergies. I mean, it's been horrible. I don't care if you're in Nebraska, Arizona, Denver, Texas, Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina. It seems like it's affecting, or even down south in Florida. I hear people complaining about it, but yeah, the allergy season is upon us, and we need some colder weather. I think it's because of the bipolar weather. We had literally like 83 degrees and then a blizzard the next day. I was like, what in the heck?
Yeah. I think if we had eased into the warmer weather, it would be much better.
Yeah, probably. So those of you who don't know, we are here on today's date to talk about a whole plethora of veterans issues or things that may be of interest to you. I don't know, either one or the other. So again, you're listening to Military Broadcast Radio on the radio station that gives our veterans a voice, and Veterans Talk, which is important to you, is important to us. So I thought I'd kick it off with a little information, which was kind of good news. There is a proposal that went before Congress to vote on the budget for 2027 for veterans, and it's quite a large budget. It's 7.7% more than they asked for last year, and I think in total, it's a lot of money. It's they're asking for this year or next year, I should say. They're asking for $488 billion, which is including a 7.7% increase for overall funding to support over 7.4 million veterans. Now, I don't want to start the rumor mill and I don't want to speculate and everything, but people know that we talked about the Major Richest Star Act, which is the also known as the combat tax on veterans that are forced to retire due to a wound that they sustained while in combat. This isn't a wound that they sustained at the mess hall cutting their finger off. This is a wound that they incurred while in combat, and they receive combat-related specialty compensation.
Mm-hmm.
And what it would do would unjustified offset would allow that then to go away, and then they would get their due money. I know that the Love Lives On Act, which is really important to a lot of family members that are Gold Star family members, they are penalized. I call it a penalty, but it is what it is. And they can't get married until they're 57. Otherwise, they lose all their benefits, which I don't think is fair. It's like you're telling somebody, don't ever fall in love again. Don't move on with your life. Because if you do, we're going to take away all your benefits that you earned. I think that's kind of unfair. So that's been pushed. Now they're trying to figure out funding for that. So you got those two very important things that are moving ahead. And again, I don't want to start any rumors, but that's a lot of money. And I'm hoping that they're kind of calculating in the Major Richest Star Act and the Love Lives On Act. Yeah. So the total budget includes $337 billion in mandatory funding for compensation and pension benefits. That's a 7.2 increase over 2026.
Awesome.
That's a lot of money. $337 billion in mandatory funding for compensation and pension benefits, which is a 7.2. Everybody knows the first time that President Trump came into office, we got that I think it was a 6 point something percent. It was like the highest we ever got. And then last year we got 2 point something. It was like a mediocre raise and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's getting there. Adjustments off. We all know the adjustments are usually for the cost of living allowance, and we know the cost of living allowance right now is through the roof right now. I mean, mortgages are up, rent's up, gas is up. I mean, are we ever going to get, we'll talk about that later in the show about gas prices and stuff. So the COLA rate is typically confirmed in October of 2026 and takes effect. So anybody that's ever been in the military knows that our government year ends in October. It's not January like most people and stuff like that. So that's a little bit of good news. And we're hoping that they, the NATA for 2027, they put in there, the Major Richest Star Act and the Love Lives On Act and stuff like that. So we're hoping that goes. So,
okay.
But other news. So I had a bunch of people reach out on my personal TikTok feed and wanted me to talk about what's going on in the world today, because as veterans, a lot of times we don't want to hear what's going on in the world because it can have triggers. So I want to give a trigger warning that if this may trigger you, there are resources that we can get you and get to you. One of them being the crisis hotline, and which is not my favorite, but anyways, and we'll try to get you. So please keep that in mind. But we all know one way or another that we are on a temporary 2-week ceasefire with Iran, in which they are kind of holding the passageway for all the oil tankers to go through kind of hostage. And there are some things that were said by the president and some things that are said by them and so on. And this is no surprise. If you're old like me, you remember the Iran hostage crisis back in the 1970s when Jimmy Carter was president. And Jimmy Carter, I mean, it's really interesting if you do your research. I mean, it's all online. There were so many covert operations back then. Delta Force was, just now starting up and new. SEAL Team 6 was new. And there were so many covert operations that were planned to go into Iran to get our hostages back. They were there for over a year, 400 and something days, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the Iran crisis, I grew up literally where if your car had an even number in the bumper or in the license plate, you could only get gas on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If it had an odd number, you can get it on Monday and Wednesday. And the rest of the days were only for government vehicles to get gas. I mean, it was crazy.
Oh.
It was huge. It was called the gas crunch of the 1970s. I mean, people were literally stealing gas, siphoning gas out. I remember my dad catching 2 guys siphoning gas out of his car. Yeah, it was a big deal back in the 70s. So Iran has kind of always been at the forefront of that. And it's always been a little difficult. It's always been one of those.
I can't hear him.
You can't hear me?
Sorry. Hold on. Sorry, Joel. Something's happening with the mics.
No, Joel over there just promised me silence of the lambs. So if you guys don't know, MBR moved into its new studio. So I keep you up to date. MBR just moved into a new studio, which is phenomenal. Let me try that one more time. Phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a cool word. Phenomenal. It's a beautiful studio. H-Train and everybody that helped out with that. I mean, it just looks great in there. It's beautiful. It's fresh. It smells new. It's great. It's really neat. So we're moving up like George and Wheezy. Another old sketch. But anyway, that was a good thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Moving on up. Hey, listen, the stuff that they said on there. Anyways, I'm gonna go on tangent. But anyways, the stuff that they said on there and Archie Bunker, if they said that today, please, those studio presidents would lose their mind.
We're gonna go to break. That way we can check the mic.
Yeah, we're gonna take a quick break, try to figure out what's going on in the studio. We'll be right back on Veterans Talk with yours truly, DJ Magic Mike, my favorite co-host ever.
Thank you.
On the front lines we stand side by side, with courage and strength that we won't let slide. Through the chaos, our hearts beat as one. Each brother's a soldier, into battle we run. When the shots ring out, we won't back down. In the silence of loss, we'll wear our crown. We are soldiers, brothers in arms. Through fire and fury, we weather the storms. In unity, forged through the blood that we shed. Together we stand, living for the dead. Each step we take through the mud and the pain, memories linger like the echoes of rain. We fight for the fallen, our spirit won't break. In honor we carry their names in our wake. Though the cost is high, our bonds grow tight. In the darkest of hours we'll shine our light. soldiers, brothers in arms. Through fire and fury, we weather the storms. In unity, forged through the blood that we've shed. Together we stand, living for the day. With every heartbeat, we carry their name. In the brotherhood force, we'll never be the same.
And we're back with Veterans Talk. We don't even get a warning anymore. We're back. Back at Veterans Talk with yours truly, DJ Magic Mike, and Amber, my guest. Hey, somebody commented, they said, Amber is in her natural environment. It's odd to see her like that. Because I mean, you're when you're normally on the radio, it's soothing. It really is. I hate to say it like that, but it's kind of soothing.
Yeah.
So
You can hear me now, right?
yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I see H Train's in sound, so he might not be here in person, but he's in our memory and our sounds right now.
He's in sound mode right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to fix this mic. This mic keeps dipping out on me. I got to get a new mic stand. But anyway, before we took the break, we were talking about Iran and everything that's going on and triggers and stuff like that. And I got a lot of veterans, and I'm gonna read you one thing. Hey, I listen to your show. Most of the time I can't listen to it live, but I listen to it on the recording. And I just wanted to say, you talked and touched base a couple of weeks ago about the current conflict in Iran and how, excuse me, how that can be a trigger for some people. I too served in Iraq and Afghanistan like you, and I really enjoyed your show and what you're talking about. It is definitely a trigger for me. Can you touch base a little bit more on that? So absolutely. And listen, this is the thing, you know, I grew up in a family where my dad was a Vietnam vet. He was an Army guy.
Mhm.
And there were all kinds of things that would trigger him. Here's the reality. I want you guys to understand this. All right. We have passed that torch. I'm not trying to say this to be mean, but we have passed that. Sure, we've got guns and piles of ammunition. And if anybody ever thought, and this is the great thing about this country, if anybody ever thought, even thunk, or even an inclination that they were going to come here and do harm in our country, and our police and our military were at a point where they were like, oh, what do we do? We have the largest base of veterans that would step up to the plate.
Yeah.
I don't care if they're male or female. I don't care if you're 70 or 55 years old. We have a plethora of veterans that would step up to the plate with their guns, put on any uniform that they were asked to, or even just put on a uniform, and would fight for this country. So that's why we've never been attacked like that. You know, everybody's like, yeah, 9/11, I got it, and stuff like that. But we have not been attacked like that because they would be wise not to.
Yeah. And not even just the veterans. There's a whole host of people who will.
Oh, absolutely. Good old boys. Absolutely. Absolutely. Good old boys, good old girls that would take that 357 and be like, I got you where you need me at.
Yeah, most definitely.
You know, so but the torch has been passed, brothers and sisters. The torch has been passed. We are now veterans, and you know, we pray for their safety. At MBR, we wear red shirts to remember everybody deployed. Red, we wear red, and it's to remember everybody deployed. And we don't do it just on Friday. We do it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We do it on Jesus' birthday, your birthday, my birthday. We wear red to remember everybody deployed.
Mhm.
And I know that it is a trigger when you watch the news. That's why I try not to watch news anymore. I used to watch it religiously in the morning and the afternoon and stuff. And sometimes I still watch it to get information. But I try to avoid those triggers, you know, and Iran is very close to where we all deployed. And I got that. And nobody wants to see a repeat of what we went through, right?
Yeah.
I can't tell you the feelings that I had when we said we were no longer in Iraq and that war was officially over and we were withdrawn from Iraq, or Afghanistan for that matter. You know, regardless of how we withdrew and everybody was angry at it, it was just it was something that it was a something we carried as a weight, you know. So, and I know this is something that's difficult for a lot of people, and I'm just asking you, talk to somebody about it.
Mhm.
Don't hold it in. Talk to somebody. Now, you may not be able to talk to your wife, and that might not be the best thing to do, or your husband might not be the best thing to do to talk to them. Or maybe it is. Maybe you feel that comfortable with them. But I will tell you this: counselors, therapists, even Chat GPT, for God's sake.
Clergy.
Um, what is it? Clergy. Oh, big one. Talk to your pastor. My pastor is actually an Army veteran, and we talk quite often. I mean, he's a nice guy. A little hard to understand. Got country accent, country as heck, but a great guy. Great guy. So I want to leave you guys with this. Talking with Iran, you know, we're on a temporary ceasefire for 2 weeks, but we still had shooting and missiles and everything yesterday. And everybody's like, "Well, what the heck's going on?" You see, we told something very important happened today, and I'm a history buff, and everybody knows that. I'll try to explain this in a quick 2.1 seconds. The terrorist organization Hezbollah is a terrorist organization. It has been supported by different state organizations, Iran, uh, 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 Palestine, whatever be it, right? And they never admitted that they supported them. Today, right now, today, Lebanon, who was a known terrorist supporter, pledged to denounce them.
Oh,
And
wow.
and even said that they were going to have a ceasefire, promising to weed out Hezbollah, or I'm not using the right political words, but pretty much that's what it is. They're saying we're gonna sign a ceasefire, and they're signing a ceasefire not with the United States of America. They're signing a ceasefire with Israel, a Jewish, and if you know anything about history, Jews and Muslims do not get along. The Jewish state of Israel, they are signing a peace agreement with them to weed out Hezbollah and not let Hezbollah attack them, or vice versa. And that's historical in and itself. I don't care if you like Trump, hate Trump, like Biden, hate Biden. I don't care who you hate as president. This right here is just the biggest sigh of relief that you could ever have, that change is coming. And I'm going to tell you this: we don't talk politics, we don't talk religion, but I'm doing it again today. I know I'm breaking my rules. Read the Bible. It's being talked about. When he's going to come again, people will kneel before him. They will know the coming of him. Christianity will be in a battle. If you don't look on the internet, there's young kids as young as 12 years old. I saw a little kid the other day preaching, and he's funny as heck, but he's preaching. Christianity is coming up. It's coming up. People are becoming more and more intoned with Christianity and with their God, but so are the enemy. And it says that it's played out in the Bible that he's coming when those things clash, right? It's going to be a huge war. There's going to be famine. There's going to be wars amongst nations, you know, so on and so forth. It talks about that. And then there's going to be a peace and a calm. So, not trying to scare anybody. I'm just telling you, get right, man. Gosh, get right. Nobody cares what you did in the past. Nobody's going to judge you. Get right for you, and find your God. And seriously, that's been my best advice that I can give anybody right now is, going through my own trials and tribulation. Nobody has been there for me like God. And I have been diving deeper. I've got a friend, old friend, neighbor, who every day, regardless of whether I answer him or not, sends me a verse, and I read it and I go back and read it. So it's been helping me, and it's my therapy. So if it's something that you haven't tried yet, try it, man. If you've tried, the Paxil, the Zoloft, the whatever else they prescribe for you, what's the Trazodone? If you've tried all of that, and nothing's working, you're willing to put all that stuff in your body and try that, and it's not working. Try this. It's not costing you anything. Try
No,
it.
I would definitely agree with that.
Just try it.
So my show is called Into the Weeds, right? So we get
Absolutely.
into the weeds, and my children have expressed concern that they believe that there is a mindset now out there to try and create a situation where the end times are coming, as
Right.
far as like people are, um, how do I want to say it? I want to say it nicely, but basically, people are triggering the end times to come because they want Jesus to come.
Right.
Now, the Bible definitely, that's not how it works. It doesn't matter what us as people do to create a situation where we believe that it's going to fulfill all the prophecies, but at the end of the day, God is the one who said that we'll never know the time or the hour. Only the Son knows. And it just freaks me out when there it seems like there is a general movement by some to push us towards the outcome that they're wanting Jesus to come back.
Right.
And that freaks me out.
I mean, it freaks anybody out. I know growing up as a kid, reading Revelations. I mean, all you got to do is read Revelations in the Bible, and you're like,
Oh, yeah.
you
Mhm.
know. So, and I used to tell everybody this. They're like, "Oh, Iraq, horrible." I go, "I was in Babylon. It's talked about in every biblical book known to mankind. I don't care if you're Muslim, Judaism. It's talked about."
Yeah.
And I was there. I don't know anybody for hundreds and hundreds and thousands, probably years, of anybody in my family that's ever been to Babylon, but I was there. I crossed the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, talked about in every biblical book known to mankind. Jesus was there.
Mhm.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine for 1 second standing somewhere that your God stood, that it's been proven? It's not just myth. It's not just a story made up. It's not a fable.
Mhm.
It's fact that he stood right here and you stood in the same place. Talk about humbling. Talk about wow, just a wow moment. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I know, like I said, I know that this whole thing with Iran and everything like that is kind of kicking off, and it's Middle East and stuff like that. And I just wanted to touch base. My viewers were concerned about that, and I just wanted to say hey.
Hey,
And
Joy.
hey, Joy. So real quick, I don't know if you guys remember me talking about this guy. His name is Viva La Vargas. He is a sergeant first class in the United States Army stationed at Fort Hood, and he is a TikTok sensation. I mean, he's TikTok, Instagram sensation. He's great. He really is. Well, I challenged him to come on the show, and he wrote me back.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. So if you guys don't know who he is, I'll show you real quick. This is Viva. That's Viva La Vargas.
Okay. We can't really hear the audio, but we see him.
Yeah, but yeah, he's great and everything like that. And I will share this with you. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, dude." I was like, "Oh my God," he reached out to me. Like, I've been following this guy since he started, just like Danger, Dustin Danger, if you guys know who he is.
Justin, yeah.
Daily, whatever.
Justin Dangerly. Something
Dangerly,
like
that's it.
Yeah.
I've been following these people. Look, I followed Instagram when Cardi B used to chat with me at 1:00 in the morning. Swear to goodness, still got screenshots of it. Her and I chatted for a long time. At 1:00 in the morning, she'd say, "Hey, what's up? How's Miami?" I'd be like, "Chilling like a villain." And we would laugh and joke. And then she said something I didn't like, so I stopped following her, and then she blew up, and now I feel like an idiot. I could have been her sugar daddy.
Oh, well.
I'm
I
joking.
mean, I don't
Anyway.
think you have enough money to be her sugar daddy.
She could have been my sugar mama. No, but she was
There
so
you
sweet.
go.
We would always joke and stuff like that. So I've been following a lot of these people for a long time, and I've reached out to Justin and Dangerly and asked him to be on my show. Never heard anything. I've reached out to Joel Patrick. I've reached out, and these are all positive figures. These are people who don't go left, right. They don't go sideways or anything like that. They just tell it like it is.
Yeah.
Joel Patrick lives in Tampa, Florida, from Tampa, Florida. He's the guy, if you ever heard of white privilege, he's the little black guy that started that, and he made himself a millionaire over it. Just the nicest guy in the world. It's funny. He's got this big white jacked up truck that says white privilege, and everybody stands
Oh,
on it.
yeah, I know who he is.
How
Yeah.
disgusting is this truck and everything? He goes, "Yeah, I agree." And then he pops the freaking door and gets up in it, and they're like, "What the heck?"
Yeah,
So,
I know.
yeah,
who he is.
he's pretty funny, but he's like, "Look, man, it is what it is." He said, I love humor, and he's just like I said, he's just an internet guy.
Mhm.
But I reached out to Viva, and he said, "Hey, if your Instagram wasn't private, I would definitely consider being on your show." And the only reason my Instagram was private, because when I started Veterans Talk, I didn't have an Instagram. So I kind of converted my personal Instagram into Veterans Talk, and it
Mhm.
just was always private. So I had a lot of private pictures, like of my mother, my father, and me when I was a little kid and stuff like that. And so I always made it private. So I had to make it public for him. So let's cross our fingers that he gets on our show, because he is a great individual. He's a positive NCO. He's one of those NCOs that you love to follow and leads from the front. And he's a motivational speaker and stuff, and he's just an all-around great guy and a plethora of information as well. So if you ever get a chance to talk to him or see any of his stuff, Viva_La_Vargas. And yeah, but so that's
Awesome.
pretty cool stuff. But yeah, so and then like I said, I never heard back from anybody else. Nobody.
A lot of people don't reply.
Justin retired from the Air Force and blew up, man. And I'm like, I'm seeing him on other people's TikToks, and I'm seeing him at conventions and everything. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, that dude blew up, man. So, but
yeah,
yeah.
you wouldn't believe the range of people I have reached out to come on the show, and I've gotten responses saying yes, they want to come on, but not a lot of people actually booking it. But I mean, I've reached out to Busy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Oh,
and
man. If you'd have got them on the show, I'd have been like this.
He said he wanted to come on. So, and actually, I think I found him on Instagram and reached out to him on Instagram that way. And Dave Politis, he's the guy that does the Missing 411. I've reached out to all kinds of people. So
yeah, it's hard. Listen, people don't realize how hard podcasting, Instagramming. I mean, we're on TV, for goodness sake. We're on Roku television. We have our own app.
Yeah.
Viva La Vargas doesn't have that. Justin doesn't have that. Joel Patrick doesn't have that. We have our own TV show. How hard is it for us to get one of these guys to come on our show? But I will tell you this, just to share a little personal experience. Forgive, forget, move on, give it to God. Those are all things that are my focus this week. I know that the last couple of weeks I've been focused on relationships and different things like that. And I feel like I owe this to you and to everybody else. I was kind of on a tangent there, and I put some of my personal business out there. Didn't mean to, but I guess it was more of a venting for me, and that wasn't good. Well, I can't say it wasn't good, because I got some feedback, and some people were actually like, man, I feel you. I was in that relationship too. And, we got back together and we fixed it. So I'll read it. I asked him if I could read it. He said, sure. This is the thing. I watched all 4 of your programs. One of your programs seemed like it was more of a venting than it was a program. And I totally get it, because I've been where you've been. I will tell you this. People realize what they lost. That's when they want it back the most. Sometimes you got to lose something to get it back. I lost everything and got my family back. It was nothing but hard work, praising God, keeping God first, and I got everything I wanted back. And it wasn't even my fault that I lost it. This is where you get old for a second. Hold on a minute. It wasn't even my fault that I lost it. It was a fault of an unknown behavior pattern that she had, and she was suffering from her own PTSD from things that had happened in her past. I love her, and I'll always love her. We finally got back together, went to counseling. Counseling seemed to work when we found a mutual counselor that we both loved and cared about. Ironically, this counselor was somebody that was in our church. I wish you the best, and I really do like your program. Keep up the great work, Todd. So thanks, Todd. Appreciate that. I told you I'd give you a shout out. And man, I promised that I would give a shout out to somebody, and I forgot who it was. But anyways, it was the Wyoming, and I'll remember the high school later on. I wrote it down somewhere, and I can't find the car, but he was the JROTC director, retired Air Force, in charge of the Air Force JROTC at the high school, and they were competing, and they got second place in Fort Carson, Colorado.
Awesome.
So shout out to them, and great work that they do.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So I'll find your card, and I'll figure out who they are and stuff like that. So let me think real quick. Who else? I was supposed to give one more shout out. Oh, shout out to Joel H. Strang, because I know that he and everybody else from the sports, what was it called? The sports, the guys.
Yeah. Final Whistle.
Yeah. Final Whistle. They all were busting their tail feathers along with Amber and Charlie, and Charlie or Chuck? Charles. I kind of like Charles. Charles in charge. That has a ring to it. Don't you dare go there. Amber's like, he ain't in charge of nothing. No. Charles and Amber and H Train and the Final Whistle. Listen, if you guys are not listening to our broadcast, you need to listen to our broadcast. I am just simply one show, and we have so many shows on MBR, and there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. And moving into the new building was kind of sprung on us, and it was kind of a last minute thing. And I know H Train had that to do. And you got to remember that everybody here has their own life. A lot of them are still working, still have their wives at home, husbands at home, dogs at home, kids at home, cats at home, whatever. So a lot of them still have lives, but they're still here. And this is a lot of therapy for us.
Yeah.
The show is a must. The weeks that I didn't do a show, I was depressed. It felt like it was, and the show does take a lot out of you. It does. It takes a lot of you. Trust me. When we put these headphones, we're like, and we all become introverts. I think every single one of us become an introvert after the show.
Yeah.
It's like, leave me alone. Don't want to be bothered. So
I do. Actually, I'm like, I got to get away from everybody and do my own thing for a little bit.
it is.
And I deal with heavy topics. Like right now, we're going through the court transcripts from a case that happened in 1986, and it happened in my hometown, and it has been very, very heavy for me to look through. And but at the same time, it's what I need to do and what I've been called to do for whatever reason. So.
I look at a lot of your work and stuff like that, and I like having you on the show. And I know you don't get a chance to talk because we're like on two different things. You do your criminy series, and me, I'm Veterans Talk, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you guys aren't watching her show, it's 6:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on MBR Radio. It's called Into the Weeds, and they do get into the weeds. And she's not just the guru on Crazy Rose. Can I say that? Am I going to get in trouble?
No, that's perfect. That's
all right.
perfect.
She doesn't just talk about Crazy Rose. And if you don't know, look at some of her. It's good. Anyway, so but she has one of probably the most intense podcasts that I watch, and I tell you what, it's really interesting. So Amber has Into the Weeds on Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's a great show. We also have Tracer Rounds, who does her own podcast. We have a cigar podcast. We have some of the finest sports podcasts that you'll ever see. Is H Train just still doing his?
Yeah, we're doing it tomorrow morning.
So tomorrow morning, Friday, H Train has his podcast. By the way, be gentle with him. He's been working his tail feathers off, and he's a little like here, there, and everywhere. So bear with him.
Well, he's also under the weather. His throat is hurting him very badly, so it's hard for him to talk.
Tell him to quit putting that stuff in his mouth. He knows what I'm talking about. And all you veterans out there went straight to the gutter like, that was fun.
I gave him some Sudafed. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, he I don't, is he still vaping?
No, he is not.
Yeah, he was vaping a lot and stuff like that, and he cut off on that. So good for him. Kudos to him. Keep up the great work there. H Train has a great show. Man, we have so many shows. Just check them all out. So, and definitely check mine out. And like I said, I know a lot of you can't type in and watch me live, but it's recorded. And if you need a link, you can always email me at magic@mbradio.us. That's magic@mbradio.us. Unless he changed my email for some crazy reason. I know our producer likes to do that. No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so. But yeah, check us out. Check us out. Check us out. And yeah, that was. I got to tell you guys a funny story. I had I didn't have any kids with my second wife. I didn't have any kids, so she never had any kids. We never had any kids, and we had wound up going to the Humane Society and checking out some dogs. And I wanted a dog, and I wanted to buy a dog, and et cetera, and stuff. And we went to the pound, and I saw this cute little dog. He wasn't barking. He was just sitting there looking at me. Looked kind of scruffy, but just looking at me. And the guy said, "Would you like to take the dog out to the yard and play with it, see how it is temperament wise?" And I said, "Sure." It's a little dog. Looked like a kind of like a Benji, if you know what that is, like just a little mutt. Looked like a mix between a Cairn Terrier and a Dachshund. Had a long body and stuff. Cute little tail. Was kind of cream color and stuff. Had like a box face, almost like a terrier. Took it out to the yard. It was hyper. It was running around and everything. I said, "Well, how old is it?" He said, "We think it's about a year old." Y'all didn't even know. Yeah, it's a little boy, and he's spayed and or neutered or whatever they call it, and everything like that, neutered. And so I played with him and stuff like that. And he was cute as heck, man, cute as a button. And then when I was done playing with him, I sat up in the chair. Eva just heard me talking about dogs and came out here. So um, I sat in the chair, and he jumped up next to me and put his head in my lap. And I'm like, oh, this dog is so cute. And I said, all right, we're going to go for lunch, and we're going to think about it. So he goes, yeah, no problem. So he goes, but we don't hold dogs. We can't hold dogs. And I go, I totally understand that. So I was getting ready to walk out the door, and he was walking the dog back to the kennel, and I heard somebody go, "Oh my God, that dog right there is perfect." And I went, "Hey, sir," I said, "We're taking the dog." So we wound up taking a dog, and we had to give it a name. So a wire terrier mix. Yeah, it was kind of a wire terrier mix. Yeah. So we had to think of a name. So we had this dog, and this dog was absolutely cute as a button and stuff. And she wanted to name it Channing Tatum. And I said, that is not happening. So Magic Mike had just come out. 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street had come out. And Channing Tatum was, get his roles were coming out popular and stuff like that. And I said, we are not naming it Channing Tatum. I said, think of another name. So we're thinking and stuff. She goes, what about Jenko? And I go, that's kind of a cool name. I like that name. That's kind of cool. Jenko. I got hornswaggled. Channing Tatum's character in 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street was Officer Jenko.
Oh,
she done got me.
I was thinking of the Jinko jeans.
She done got me. She done hornswaggled me. Ain't that something? Anyway, so yeah, God, he would be about 12, 13 years old today. Jeez, maybe a little bit older. Anyway, but funny story. So, but I just got a text message, so I got to talk about this now with veterans, and I know this is kind of like, March, April, May, and June were the hardest months for the First Infantry Division in 2004 and 2005 when we were in Iraq. They were probably the worst. I'll say that. It was probably the worst ever, 2004 especially. So we took the most casualties in those months. I know I was injured in April. I know Joel was injured about the same time and stuff. And I got a lot of emails and stuff like that. So we have lost 4 of our good friends that were served with us in Iraq with Joel and I. And they came home and had nobody to talk to. They literally did. They were given some medicine and sent on their way and whatever be it. And I want you guys to know that myself, H-Train, Amber, all of the staff at MBR are here. We're friends, your family, and I know that, March, April, May, and June are specifically hard for the 1st Infantry Division and anybody who might have been in Iraq during that time in 2004, 2004 to 2005 timeframe in OIF, 2 is what it was called at that time. So I know it's difficult for you and stuff, and it's difficult for a lot of us and stuff. And September rolling around in October become difficult too. And we kind of had a break in there when Ramadi and and all Ramadan and all that other crazy stuff was going on. They kind of had a break, but it's a difficult time. And the email, and I'll read it to you. It says, "Hey Mike, I appreciate your show. Was watching it. I know you served in the 1st Infantry Division. I was attached with the 1st ID for my National Guard unit. April was specifically a hard time for us. We got mortared a lot, hit by roadside bombs. We lost a lot of good people. And I know it was a tough time for the 1st Infantry Division as well, as we were attached to them. I want you to give thanks and prayers to those who loved the lost one during this time, and know that those of us that survived, especially me, have a hard time, especially in April. Can you always keep us in your prayers?" Absolutely. So yeah. Brian, you're always going to be in our prayers. I don't use last names because I don't think it's anybody's business, but Brian served with the North Carolina National Guard, and he was attached to, matter of fact, the 82nd Engineers. You're always in our thought and prayers, and there's not a day that goes by we don't think of that. And again, there's different resources out there and tools that we can give you that would help you handle those not so good days a little bit better. And we all have them, right? We all have the good days and the bad days, right? Some of us have good weeks and bad months.
Yeah.
Some of us have the opposite. So know that at MBR, you're not just a person, you're a family, and every veteran is a family, except for those who served in the Navy. I'm joking. It's only because you guys keep beating us every year in football. So that's the only reason I said that. So it was a little inside joke. So don't take that serious or anything like that. But it has been it has been rough for all of us, Brian. And I want you to know that you're always in our thoughts and prayers. And if you ever want to come on the show and talk about anything, you're more than welcome to. And we're here for you.
Yeah.
And I'll share this with you guys, and we're going to take a quick break after that. This is something that was sent to me. Out of the blue, somebody sent this to me today. Continue to take care of yourself. Give it to God. Tell your family and your kids every day that you love them. The Lord is righteous in everything he does. And he is filled with kindness. The Lord is close to all who call on him, and yes, to all who call on him in truth. He grants the desires of those who fear him. He hears their cries for help and rescues them. The Lord protects all those who love him, but he destroys the wicked. I will praise the Lord, and may everyone on earth bless his holy name forever and ever. I know that I'm being a hypocrite right now because I said I wouldn't talk about religion or politics, but I had to share that with you because it was very important to me with everything that's going on in my life, everything that's going on with a lot of people's lives, right? We have little shoulders. I don't care if you're 10 feet tall or 3 foot tall. We have little shoulders, but his shoulders are a lot bigger than ours. Give it to him. Trust me, if I didn't give this to him, I wouldn't be here today with you on the show. So try to find your peace and solidarity and just everything in him and try and am I right, Amber? And try to just give it to him and walk away. It's hard.
Leave it at the foot of the cross. And
it's hard. It's hard. Trust me. I know it's hard. You're listening to Veterans Talk on Military Broadcast Radio with Amber and DJ Magic Mike, and we will be back after this quick break, and we'll talk a little bit more about some other stuff and emails that I have. So we'll be right back on MBR Radio.
Too big, wanting to grow up way too quick, searching for spotlights since I was 6. Hello, my name is Dream Too Big. Hello, my name is way too loud. My voice can cut right through a crowd. Got made fun of for it, but who's laughing now? Hello, my name is way too loud. I know I've had my moments and I've had heartaches. God is making miracles out of my mistakes. You can say I won't make it, and I can tell you that I don't really care. 'Cause hello, my name is going somewhere. Far. Lost all my words in a mason jar. Locked eyes with a stranger at the end of the bar. Hello, my name is You'll Go Far. Well, hello, my name is One More Try. I put too much stock in bad advice, 'cause anything worth leaving is worth loving twice. You're never gonna leave the ground. You can tell us all about it when you come back around. Hello, my name is Get Knocked Down. Hello, my name is Stand Back Up. Keep moving even when it gets rough. I've given so much, but I ain't giving up. Hello, my name is Stand Back Up. I know I've had my moments and I've had heartaches. God is making miracles out of my mistakes. You can say I won't make it, and I can tell you that I don't really care. 'Cause hello, my name is going somewhere. Going somewhere.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at nbradio.net.
Hey, welcome back to Veterans Talk. A little bit better, Veterans Talk on NPR Radio. That was Lauren Rose Thayer, Thayer. I got to know what's her background. Do we know anything about her background?
Yeah, actually, Joel interviewed her a while back. I think it's been like over a year ago now. I know she's a Christian woman. She lives in Nashville. She won the Josie Award.
How come Joel gets to interview these good-looking people and I get to interview nobody? I interview like thugs. No, I'm joking. I got in trouble for saying that one day. They were like, it's all about the beauty. No, it's not about the beauty. No, but she is a good Christian woman. And I was looking at some of her songs and stuff like that. That song was pretty powerful. That's why I asked what her
It's a
background
great
was.
song.
Yeah, good song. So Joel will be happy because if you guys don't know, H Train is originally from Indiana. You know, the ones that beat the Miami Hurricanes. Don't know how, but they did. I must know why there is a Diet Coke under her couch. That's funny.
Oh, in the show, I was like,
Yeah, in the thing, it was. Did you just look and see if there was a Diet Coke under there?
hey, Joy,
Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you for hanging out. I really appreciate it. She's one of my moderators on my channel. So.
Yes. Thank you for hanging out. She hangs out for you, not me. But anyway, Kokomo, Indiana is where Joel is from. H Train is from, and they have they're building a brand new VA, a $4.7 million billion whatever it is VA in Indianapolis, Indiana. I just
Wow.
saw that, but
Awesome.
that's crazy. I know that's nowhere near Kokomo, but I just thought I'd share that with you. One of the cool things that I
have
wanted
no
to share, one of the cool things I wanted to share with everybody about the VA is if you've ever gone to the VA and I don't know, maybe you're visiting the VA in another state, or you're visiting a totally different VA in a different state or whatever, be it, or maybe you lived like me. I lived in DC, I lived in Florida, I lived in North Carolina, I lived in Texas, I lived, quite a few different places and stuff like that. And I used the VA facility there. So every time you go there, you have to either register as a visitor, right? Or you have to register like you're registering new at the VA.
Yeah.
And it's quite difficult because the VAs don't talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to literally request your records from the other VA.
Yeah.
It's the stupidest thing. Well, it was announced today by the undersecretary of the VA that they are doing a pilot program right now in, I believe, Michigan. Detroit is where they started. Detroit's where they're starting it at. Yeah. So, and it's called the EHR system, the Federal Electronic Health Record System. So I have no idea why our federal government is so slow on this, because I will tell you this. If you apply for the military right now and they have a button that they can hit, boop, and they press that button, and all of a sudden they know your whole entire history of when you went to the ER, when you went to your doctor as a kid, what was your treatment for. So there's no more like it used to be. When it used to be when you were a kid, or when you were, going in the army, they go, "What's that big scar on your chest?" I got impaled by a fence, when really you had 2 open heart surgeries, right? They had no way of knowing that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now they just press a button. So if our phone lines are open, 720-619-0627, 720-619-0627. Don't call and tell me how horrible you hate the backdrop here. That's not my fault, or the backdrop. Actually, that backdrop looks actually pretty tight over there.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know who did that. That
We
had to be a
even got
woman.
our little ducky.
That had to be a woman's touch. That is definitely not a man's touch. But anyway, yeah, they don't talk to each other. So now they're going to talk to each other so that when you go into a VA anywhere, it doesn't matter. It's going to be the same health care. So they can hit a button, see your chart. Okay, you're diagnosed with kidney failure, whatever be it. Da 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 da. This is the medicine you're on. Let's get them on that medicine. So it's going to help out. I never understood why the federal government is so slow when it comes to stuff like that. But hey, at least they're trying to catch up. So kudos to them.
Yep.
Kudos to him. I met a guy yesterday. I have to tell you the story. And I know I'm going to get a lot of trouble for this. I met a guy yesterday. He had an old gray Army t-shirt on. You guys remember those? The Army PT shirts that were gray that said Army across them? He had a gray. You have a few of them still. I think I use them as rags. But yeah, so I had he had that and on, and I said, "Oh, you served in the Army?" And he was like, "Yes, I did." And I said, "Oh, cool. What did you do?" He goes, "I was up supply." And I'm like, "Oh, cool." I was like, we just got talking, real nice guy. He goes, "Yep, I retired after 27 years." And my 2-minute conversation with him was more like 27 minutes because he had a stutter. I don't know if that's a stuttering or speech impediment, whatever be it.
Yeah.
So my 2-minute conversation was like a 27-minute conversation. And it reminded me of the James Olmos, and was it James Olmos? What's that guy's name? Famous actor. James
Almost Junior.
Olmos Jr. That's it. Olmos Jr. And Robin Williams. When Robin Williams walks into the photo shop, if you guys never seen that, Google search it. It's Robin Williams, a comedian. It's a good film. And he walks in, he goes, "I need a camera." And he goes, "Which one do you want? You want a Fuji or a Sony?" And he goes, I'll just take one. I'm in a hurry. He goes, "Okay." He said, do you want one that takes, so he's stuttering and stuff like that. So finally he rings it up and everything like that. And Robin Williams says, how much is that going to cost? And Robin Williams looks at him and goes, "Fuck you." It's a funny skit. Robin Williams, these guys. The take on that probably was like 20, 30 times because Robin Williams ad-libbed that whole thing. And it was
Edward James Olmos.
Edward James Olmos. That's what it is. Are you watching the clip right now?
No, I just
it's hilarious, the clip. I mean, I wish we could bring it up. It is the funniest thing in the world. So we're not making fun of anybody. We're just, little enlightenment. I get in trouble all the time for saying stuff that I probably shouldn't say, but you know what? It is what it is, right? My mom and dad always said you were going to get in trouble one day with that tongue, that little pink thing that hangs down. You're going to get in trouble one day, little pink thing that hangs down. You're going to get in trouble. That pink thing made a lot of people happy.
I get in trouble for doing the right thing all the time.
Yeah. I've gotten in trouble with that. I got in trouble with that. I got accused of being a hero all the time. That was kind of painful. Why do you always have to be the hero? Oh, because I love you and I always want to be your hero. That's why. I should have probably just played stupid. Anyways, Amber, I tell you. How was your Easter? I wanted to ask you that at the beginning. How was your Easter?
It was good. My nephew and my brother-in-law came over and we had roast and Brussels sprouts and mashed potatoes, all the stuff I'm allergic to. Actually, I'm not allergic to Brussels sprouts, but
the one thing I hate, you're not allergic to. Got it.
Oh, they're so good the way I make them though, Mike. I blanch them and then I cut them up and fry them in butter and garlic. Oh, it's amazing.
Now, butter and garlic I do like, so that does sound good though.
It's amazing.
On that. I am not going to lie on that. Yeah,
How was yours?
It was uneventful. I woke up early, went for a nice walk in the mountains with Eva, and it's still cool in the morning, so I can walk with her real early. If I take her out in the midday, she gets so exhausted and so heat because she's a black lab. The heat just bakes her, and she finds wherever shade she can find it. But she likes her walks with me, and I like going for walks. And then I came back home. I gave her a bath. and kind of played with her a little bit. Then she did like this alligator roll on her back. She loves to do. So I was like, "Yep, you're getting a bath today." So we went, gave her a bath, came home, and did some reading and stuff like that. I went to church, and I don't judge. I walked out of church because I wanted to hear more about the resurrection, and it just seemed like they were more focused on different things that they were doing.
That's funny because Charles preached on Easter and he made I think his sermon was 46 minutes. And my brother-in-law was sitting in the back and he heard some people grumbling and he's like, "Oh, we've heard this story in 46 minutes," and it's like if you can't sit in church on Easter Sunday of all days and listen to the resurrection story.
Yeah, I wanted to
That's
listen to the resurrection.
Yeah.
Listen, at church time, I want to hear about his birth and resurrection at Easter time. That's the two things listen, half of y'all don't even go to church until it's Christmas or Easter
Yeah.
or baptismal. That's the only time y'all go to church. Y'all can sit there for 46 minutes. Charles, I would have loved to sat there and listen to the resurrection because the church that I go to is a mega church. And they were talking about some stuff. And I'm like, y'all do know it's Easter, right? You do know that he rose, right? Today's the day he rose. Y'all know that
Yeah.
resurrection. That's what it means. He rose again, like he rose, like he descended to hell, came up, and now he's seated at the right. That whole. You know that story? Because I know this story, and you're the preacher, and you're preaching about what? What are you preaching about?
Yeah, well, we've noticed that the last few years, it seems like, honestly, the preachers have kind of gotten away from actually preaching what's in the Bible, and it's more topical, like how to have a good day or, whatever,
Oh,
which is
social media.
fine.
Listen, social media was the big one. They
Yeah.
sat there and they go, "Oh, social media is the devil and this and that and that." And then I went into the bathroom to use the bathroom while the worship team was worshiping, and the pastor's up there sitting on the sink. He was a little bitty fella. And he was sitting there on the sink, and he didn't know I was in the stall. And he is doom scrolling
Mhm.
on Instagram, talking to himself. And I'm like, "Come on, man! You just sat up there and preached about, So, I know we shouldn't keep your eyes on the people because they all fail and stuff like that. But
They
we don't
do.
need to hear about that. Preach the Bible. The Bible is supposed to be preached about, talked about, and followed, and so on. So talk about that.
Yeah,
Talk
that's
about
one of the things, my friends and I were talking the other day, and they were talking about all these Christian podcasts that they love to watch, and they asked me, and I was like, honestly, I really have a hard time watching Christian podcasts because I've been in ministry for so long and seen so many things that I know most of these people are hypocritical. And not only that, some of these people that I've actually heard about the podcast or whatever, I've heard about their personal lives. I'm not, look, I don't care if you drink or smoke or, dance. I don't care what
Right.
you do in your personal life. As long as you're praising God and trying to make more
Keyword.
disciples.
Keyword trying. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
As long as you're trying to do that and always moving forward, I don't care. But it's just been so frustrating that, you know, if I turn on a preacher or I turn on a podcast or whatever, I'm it seems like they're just not trying to fulfill the hunger that we need for the scripture, and they're
Well
more
said.
turning it into uh,
A
a
business.
life coaching.
Yeah, life coaching. Good
Mhm.
way. Well said. Well said. You need to send me his sermon, by the way.
Okay, I will.
Text that to me. I'd like to hear. But yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that's where we're at. I will say this out there: if you're watching, you know who you are. I'm not going to say any names or anything. I hope that you learn in your heart to forgive, as
Mhm.
I have forgiven. You,
Yeah.
you don't have to forget. Forgetting is his job, but
Yes.
you need to forgive in your heart.
Mhm.
He will forget. And there's a story that goes like this. It says that guy gets to heaven and he's standing there, he's before Jesus and he's crying, he's bawling his eyes out. And Jesus says, what's going on? He said, but Jesus, I don't know how I'm standing in front of you. He goes, what do you mean? And he says, Jesus, I did this and this and this and this. And Jesus said, what are you talking about? He said, well, you remember that time when I was a kid and I lied about this, or I did this, or I did that. And Jesus says, you're talking about that? excuse me. Jesus says, you're talking about this? He goes, yeah. Excuse me, man, my allergies are horrible. He says, yeah, I'm talking about that. He goes, oh, that right there. He goes, yeah, I forgot about that. But what are you doing remembering it? Because you prayed about it and gave it to me. And I forgot about it. So why are you remembering it? And it's a good story. It's a really good story. But yeah, we're at our 4:00 hour.
I thought that was my phone. I was like, where?
Yeah, it's a 4:00 hour, and I just want to say thank you to everybody for joining us. And you know, everybody has a journey that they're on. You have one, I have one, and it's our journey. We own it. Stay faithful on your journey. Keep putting in the work. It will pay off.
Amen.
Remember this: some people quit drinking too much. Some people quit lying. Right? It's never the right timing. I'm trying to remember the verses. But some people change. Some people do. It's a song. It's a great song. You should listen to it. And it's going to be my motto. It might be another tattoo I get. Some people do. Some people do change. Some people do. And they ask for forgiveness and move on. So thank you everybody for joining us. I want to thank my special guest, Amber. Thank you for H Train in the booth. I know he's over there quiet as a church mouse over there, which by the way, if you know him, that ain't his forte being quiet. So thank you. Love each and every one of you. Can't wait to see you guys next week. And if you have that's something you want to ask us, drop us a line at magic@mberadio.us or give us a call or send us smoke signals. But don't forget, most importantly, don't forget, take care of each other, take care of yourself, and watch Amber at 6:00 Eastern Standard Time at Into the Weeds. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Have a blessed evening. Bye.
Life is like a duck. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Here at Military Broadcast Radio, we're teaming up with our friends at Die Tired, the veteran-friendly music band spreading strength, resilience, and mental health awareness one shirt at a time.
And check this out. Their brand new shirts feature Broadcast Beaker right on the breast pocket. A reminder that you can weather the storm and you're never alone.
Shirts are only $25 and proceeds support giving veterans a voice. MBR's mission to teach veterans how to podcast and videocast. Because when our vets are talking, they're not overthinking. They're not second-guessing. Together, we stop the 22 stigma. Grab your shirt today at mbradio.us and hit the shop. Or go directly to toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband. That's toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband.
Suit up, stand strong.
Remember, we're unduckable together.
You're built tougher than the storm.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.